outside, but as the sun begins to set here, we are going to have a wonderful football match on tap here in Phoenix. The fans are starting to arrive, waiting for some good football here in Tempe. Was that a little bit quicker than what we're actually going to be doing time-wise? Footballing oasis in the middle of the desert. It's Phoenix Rising FC and LA Galaxy 2. Los Dos taking on Phoenix for the first time this season as the newly built complex playing home to Phoenix. And we are going to have a great football. Beautiful scenes here in Phoenix, Arizona as Phoenix Rising FC take on LA Galaxy 2. Los Dos in this USL Western Conference matchup. Tyler Terrans joined by Matt Stubbington. And Matt, while Phoenix Rising have the names, they might not necessarily have the game all just yet.
Well, they've got an early season and a pressure of the new stadium and everything. So it's going to be an interesting match against LA Galaxy 2. It's a windy conditions. It's going to be very tough for both sets of players.
And speaking of tough for Phoenix, that man Raul Mendiola made 6 appearances in the MLS last season, now getting some minutes here in the USL, looking to make an impact.
And he plays on the outside, a very difficult player to defend against, likes to get forward. He's going to be a really important player for LA Galaxy too.
And anybody who knows football knows this man, Shaun Wright-Phillips, not necessarily as fleet of foot as he was a few years ago in his days with Chelsea and Man City, but plenty of tricks still up his sleeve.
Oh, that's a great thing about the USL. You mix experience with youth, and great experience there in Shaun Wright-Phillips. Lots of international caps. He's going to be a great teacher for these young players from Phoenix.
And here is the Los Dos starting lineup. Obviously, with the reserve squad, it's going to be a revolving door of sorts in terms of the starting lineup on a week-in, week-out basis.
It is a revolving door, but that makes communication even more important between the goalkeeper, Kempin, and his back four to make sure that everything is tight in the back line.
A couple of changes from the last game, but more or less the same. And for Phoenix, this is almost exactly the same with a couple of different changes. Luke Rooney, as well as Shaun Wright-Phillips, playing in a more central role than what we're used to seeing him in his days in the Premier League, where he was more outside, able to utilize his pace.
It's going to be interesting. Shaun Wright-Phillips, as you say, more central. See whether he stays there or drifts wide in the course of the match. But playing in the middle there allows him more time and more range in the pitch.
Kickoff coming up here in the desert. It's Phoenix Rising hosting Los Dos. Phoenix looking for the first 3 points and first goal of the season. We'll be back in just a few.
Celebrate spring with savings from Pruitt's. We've got the biggest deals on your favorite looks. Like this sofa chaise with script pillows, yours for $399. Or this South Beach 4-piece bedroom set, just $699. Visit Pruitt's for the lowest prices and best selection at Alma School and Ray or Thomas Road and 34th Street. Pruitt's, proudly serving the Valley for 65 years.
Explore the Southwest lifestyle, the culture, the music, the food, y más. Join hosts J.R. Cardenas and Vanessa Ramirez for a Southwest adventure on Subida. Travel the state, enjoy the food, discover new artists, and fun things to do. Every week, JR and Vanessa share their discoveries with you.
Watch Subida on YourView every Sunday and Wednesday on Cox Channel 1007 or at yourview.com.
Hey, little man, I'm your new house. Come on in. This is gonna be great. Watch what we can do together. Lights. Ta-da! Locks. Not bad, huh? Oh, and this. I've been saving this for you. You take care of the universe, I'll take care of you.
Cox Home Life, home security and automation.
Welcome back to Phoenix as the fans here at the Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex obviously enjoying their new home as well as a little football here tonight as Phoenix are going to be hosting Los Dos LA Galaxy as we are going to take a look at a couple of the head coaches who are in charge of these two fantastic clubs. Phoenix still looking for their first 3 points and first goal of the season. Los Dos on the other side have been playing some decent football, and obviously with that reserve side that we've been talking about, Matt, it's obviously a little bit difficult to tell which team is going to show up on any given week.
It is, and it's difficult to get the continuity for the players and for the coaching staff. And it's difficult for the opposition as well to figure out who they're going to be playing against. So it's both sides of the ball. It's an interesting matchup as far as the tactics are concerned. But as I said in the opening, it's all about communication for LA Galaxy too. You have to talk, and these players practice together all the time. So you have to talk with each other, communicate, and make sure everybody is on the same page.
Well, it's certainly on opposite sides of the spectrum as far as average age of the team. If you look at the Los Dos starting lineup, it's 19, 21, 22, 20. And then if you go on the other side, you start out with a Shaun Wright-Phillips who's 35, a Pete Ramage who's 33, Jordan Stewart's 35. So you have these veterans on the tail end of their career just trying to enjoy obviously this new USL being granted second division. Then on the other side, you have a lot of hungry youngsters who are really trying to prove themselves to the top level.
And it is such an interesting concoction. And the important thing is with these older players is that they are there to teach and help the youngsters along, but also they can't just be there to receive a paycheck. They have to put their best effort forwards. And I know that these professionals, and that's what they are professionals, want to make sure that they put a great performance out for the fans that come out to watch.
Well, we are underway here in Phoenix, the second ever game in the Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex. The inaugural opening of the stadium was spoiled by TFC, who put in a very solid effort and took away the initial game here in Phoenix by a score of 2-0. And now Phoenix looking to get their first goal, first 3 points. Obviously a lot of big names, but none bigger than Sean Wright Phillips, something we're going to talk about. And you see how deep he's already coming back to collect the ball, just playing in a much different role than what he was used to in the Premier League.
It is. I mean, as a youngster, he was just fleet of foot and up and down the flanks all the time. But as you get older, you don't have the legs to make those runs that he used to. So you get moved into the middle of the park a little bit, so you then become more of a general to pass the ball. So his job is to receive the ball and then find teammates on the release and try and get them into the attack and then pop up at the top of the box and maybe put a goal in himself.
And right off the bat, Jordan Stewart, a little bit slow to get to his feet, still on his knees, almost in the fetal position now, as Adrian Vera getting a stern talking to from the referee. The two got tangled up, and then Vera actually came across with his boot to Jordan Stewart's head. Stewart, 33 years old, out of Ashington, England. And finally Stewart to his feet. He's in an outside back roll in the previous game and actually have a little blood coming from his face.
He's going to have to leave the field of play and get that attended to. So it's not the best start for Phoenix.
Not the best start for Jordan Stewart either, as we're only about a minute and 40 seconds into this one, probably only about 15 or 20 seconds of match time, as the physio already having to come out onto the field and attend to Jordan Stewart. Certainly a physically imposing figure on the football pitch, and still getting tended to. Obviously we'll expect Jordan to return, but Phoenix looking to take route one, and right off the bat, Los Dos having some trouble dealing with the long ball, and it'll be a corner, the first of the evening for Phoenix.
I think that might have been the wind that was the problem there with the clearing header.
Wright Phillips straight into the box, and it was a very good service, and looking to get on to the end of it was Phoenix Rising. It looked like it was Chris Cortez getting his first start of the season, trying to latch on to the end of that service from Wright Phillips, but it'll be a goal kick and first touch for John Kempin, the 23-year-old out of Leawood, Kansas.
That was a good ball in. Cortez just not timing his jump to meet the ball in the air.
Well, already we can see that Phoenix is looking to operate at an extremely high pace. When they earned their first corner of the game, they elected to play quickly, as Los Dos getting their first touches on the ball. And as we mentioned before, Matt, when we were doing the earlier game, it's such an interesting concept with these reserve squads, constantly moving, ever-changing program. And you talk to the coaches and the players, and they almost are expecting and accept and thrive off of this constant movement within the club, this idea that you're looking to improve to get to the next level, and that these USL results obviously matter, but what does matter is player development and looking to take the next step.
Absolutely does. Ball trying to be played through there. Would have sprung the offside trap if the ball had been played in the right angle. But it's such a great opportunity for these young players to learn and to develop in a competitive game. I mean, it's not so long ago that the majority of the guys coming out of college, they had nowhere to go. Then the MLS came about in '96, and that gave them somewhere to go. But now they have that extra division that they can compete at.
Here's an opportunity for Rigi. Rigi squares it back across, and it actually comes up towards the other end of the pitch. Not exactly sure how that happened, and here is an absolute rip coming from Victor Vasquez. That's going to go out of bounds, but what a start for Phoenix. Two early opportunities.
Tremendous opportunity, getting deep into the box. A ball played across. Bravo, I think, that played the ball, and how that stayed out of the back of the net. It looked like it hit Cortez in the back of the heel. Somehow, some way, LA Galaxy 2 on down 1-0.
So Phoenix at home, looking to impress this home crowd. About 7,000 came out, which is right around capacity here at Phoenix Rising Complex. Saw their team lose that initial game to TFC2, and all the rumors swirling around about Phoenix potentially getting an MLS expansion in a couple of years. And when we were talking to Frank Yallop, we asked him the question of whether or not he thought that there was almost a target on their back. He said that his players really haven't thought about it that much, and they're almost putting pressure on themselves with the new stadium being built and all of that. And it's not pressure coming from the outside, but almost putting it on themselves.
Well, the local area have supported them so well, and they've wanted to put such a good performance together for the team or for the fans, and the stadium went up very quickly. It was 53 days, I think, is what that we were told. And that's an extraordinarily short amount of time to build such a fantastic facility. And obviously the players want to do justice for the faith that the local area have put into them.
Well, the front office has certainly done everything they can to try and make a bid for that MLS expansion, but it works in tricky ways. St. Louis, obviously, we're trying to get the vote passed. It did not get passed to bring an MLS team to St. Louis. So in terms of getting support from the community, from the MLS, from investors, there's a lot that needs to happen and a lot that goes into it. It's not as simple as having a great city, a great fan base, and then just moving forward. There's so many different pieces that, other than football, that need to come to place. And I think the football is going to come for Phoenix. It's just a matter of time with all these big names like the Sean Wright Phillips, like the Pete Ramages. And it's just a matter of time before this team is able to string some wins together, but first stringing some passes together as Cortez bullying his way through. And Bravo able to win a corner. And Phoenix continue to apply a pressure.
Turner for LA, slow to get up.
Having a conversation with the referee claiming that he might have gotten fouled, and that's why he is injured on the ground.
As he went to clear the ball, it was just good heads-up play from the Phoenix team to win the ball back. Keep it alive inside the box. Certainly a different urgency about this Phoenix Rising team.
Wright Phillips, the corner, sent towards Kempin. It's punched out initially, and a neat little touch. Trying to spring Los Dos the other way, but solid defensive work from Alessandro Righi, who's been active thus far.
That was a smart play by Righi. He looked to go in almost, you could tell he was thinking about a slide tackle there, then pulled out and realized he could win the ball in a much better fashion, and did so beautifully, standing up and then able to start the attack for his team.
And that's going to come out the other way. And there's the Omar Bravo, the 37-year-old out of Mexico. Multiple appearances with the Mexico national team, appeared in the 2006 World Cup, 65 appearances in all, a Mexican legend. And he is one of those big names that have been brought to Phoenix to try and sort of build that momentum, that hype around this Phoenix Rising team to try and get them that MLS expansion.
And that builds the pressure as well, because you have such a reputation coming into the club. And so the fans and your teammates expect you to be able to perform magic, but you're not necessarily going to be able to perform magic all of the time, especially in such a competitive league. It's not that you're a giant amongst children. You're playing against players that are of an equal standard as you are, and hungry to get on with their careers. And so it's difficult for these more experienced players, older players, to make the impression that some fans might expect them to do just at a drop of a hat.
Right, Phillips turning in space, finding the feet of Righi. And that one sent over the bar, but Righi again in the mix.
Maybe a little bit more patience from Righi there. The support run from Wright Phillips on the overlap was coming. Certainly this early going, it's all been Phoenix. In their first match at home, they had a lot of opportunities. Were unlucky. The Toronto FC goalkeeper made some good saves. And almost against the run of play, they conceded a goal and didn't respond very well to that, and ended up losing the game.
Josh Cohen getting one of his first touches of the evening. Cohen was 24 years old. First season with Phoenix Rising. Last seen with the OC Blues. Attended UC San Diego. Division II, was an All-American. Made some big saves in the game against RSL Monarchs, too, the other day. Keeping that game at 2-0. It could have been much worse if not for Cohen, as Phoenix seemed a little bit out of sorts offensively throughout the course of the game, and that's something that manager Frank Yallop touched upon a number of times during our call with him, just saying that his team looked a little out of sorts offensively, especially in the final third, and that's something that's just going to come with time in terms of these new faces getting to know each other.
And it's all about responding to the adversity that you face on the soccer field, and at different points in a match you will face that adversity, whether you're being successful in scoring a bunch of goals or not. At some point things won't go well for you on the field of play, and you have to respond to that. And it's the first game they didn't respond well to the first goal, and then
Vasquez with a great ball, and it's Bravo who was on the end of it, but the header right into the safe hands of Kempin. It was beautiful football on the near left wing, resulting in a shot on target, but it was only that.
That was a beautiful cross in from deep.
And here's Wright Phillips trying to make something happen, taken down. But we are not going to have a call from the referee, much to the displeasure of the few thousand fans here at the Phoenix Rising complex.
The ball got played out for a corner kick. Sean Wright Phillips on the through ball. A good sequence of play for Phoenix. The cross into the back post area was an absolute gem. Well saved by the goalkeeper, Kempin, and then that run from Wright Phillips.
Wright Phillips, another corner into the box. It's met, but there is Kempin yet again, and he has been mighty active in the opening 12 minutes, having to make a couple of saves.
Every attack that Phoenix has been putting forwards into their attacking third has been some danger about it, and really testing LA out. That was a beautiful cross. Bravo could argue that he should have done better with that, but credit the goalkeeper. The footwork to get across and make the save was fantastic. It was a difficult opportunity for Bravo. He probably was unsighted as far as the ball was concerned until just about when it met his head.
Leo Fuji, holding center midfielder for Los Dos, 20-year-old out of Hong Kong, his third season with Los Dos. Played at UC Santa Barbara for a year before turning pro. Wearing number 48 tonight in the middle of the park. There's a little bit of a miscue. Wright Phillips was trying to link the pieces maybe a little bit too quickly. And here's some great play on the outside. Ball is going to be called out of bounds as Andre Zanga, 20-year-old out of Cameroon. Him and John Joseph Angola both signed at the Kaji Sports Academy in Cameroon just a few months ago. Same academy that produced the likes of Samuel Eto'o, Barcelona, and Inter Milan star a few years ago now. Here's Matt Watson pressing all the way to the back line. And Phoenix have really been all over Los Dos in the opening minutes, either on the offensive side of the ball or when they're pressing.
They've done a very good job defensively, especially when the ball goes back to the feet of Kempin, of taking away his short passing options and then winning the second ball off of the clearances.
Here's a giveaway in a dangerous area. But there's solid defensive work from Rambo, aka Pete Ramage. Another shot blocked in front. But Fuji able to keep it alive. Turner, the overlapping run, the back heel. No dice from Adrian Vera. Now here's Watson looking to counter on the other end.
Good defensive shape again. This time from Phoenix. See the experienced players of Stewart and Ramage in the back line, marshalling the players around them, making sure that the passing lanes are condensed. And
Regi thought about it. Back for Luke Rooney, no relation to Wayne. Vasquez on that patented left foot. And it's going to be offsides on the far side. And you can almost hear Luke Rooney getting on Bravo to watch his line, because everybody in the park knew that it was going out wide, and maybe Bravo was just caught off sides and caught ball watching a little bit.
You got to be a heads up, make sure that you stay on that onside position. You know where the runs are, you know where the ball's going to be played. You got to be a lot smarter at this level.
And we currently have 2 balls on the field at the moment.
And an extra player by the looks of it. Not sure how good you're going to be with all that camera gear, but
Phillips helping it along. Neat touch from Cortez. Rooney trying just a bit too much there. Getting stuck in was Castellanos. We'll go all the way back to Cohen. 16 minutes in, still 0-0. A couple of fantastic chances for Phoenix, but still have not found that breakthrough. And as the minutes continue to move forward, maybe it's a mental block of sorts for Phoenix in this new ground, a new name, just not able to find that first goal.
And as the minutes accumulate, as far as the goal scoring is concerned, it becomes a monkey on the back, so to speak. And at some point, you just have to find a way of exercising those ghosts and find a way to put it in the back of the net. It doesn't have to be pretty. It's all about want to in the penalty area. And Phoenix have certainly shown that industry around the penalty box. They just have to find that final touch, that final moment, and then they'll be right as rain, I think. I mean, the confidence.
The floodgates will open.
The floodgates are open, because the confidence in their attack up to that point looks fantastic.
Long ball sent ahead. Cohen well off his line, doing his best Manuel Neuer impression, playing that sweeper keeper role. And there's a heavy touch from Luke Rooney that I'm sure he'd love to have back. And here comes Los Dos on the other end. It was Zanga trying to slip it through. Cortez has a step on the defender. Cuts it back. The service. Great defensive work from Los Dos, as a couple of backs were caught out of position but tracked back just in time.
So important to track back with the runners. That was a fantastic job there. Oh, that was a close call on that near side.
Very intelligent run, though.
That was a great shot of it as well, the bending run that forwards have to make, and that was a very close call there. See an earlier chance, header coming in, ball bouncing around. Kempin fine down to the near post to make the save. One of many opportunities that Phoenix have had in this opening 18 minutes of action.
Well, you have to imagine that the message from manager Frank Yala in the dressing room just moments before the game was attack, attack, attack in the opening minutes. Tried to get that early goal, and when we were talking to him, he said that was one of the biggest things, that they'd love to come out and score first. But when you haven't scored in the course of the season yet, over the course of 2 games, it's a little bit easier said than done.
It certainly is, and it puts a lot of pressure on you defensively. And if you don't have that offensive answer and then you concede a goal, it just builds that pressure even more, because you're just wondering, is that goal ever going to come? Both teams need to find a way to get the ball on the deck as well, because at the moment, playing that ball up into the air and with the wind, it's very difficult to judge what's going to happen. And a lot of untidy play at the moment from both squads.
Well, it was Phoenix who was certainly on the front foot in the opening moments of the match. And now Los Dos turning it into a little bit of a scrap, and maybe that's something that they'd like, because Phoenix certainly does have a lot of talent. They're going to want to keep the ball on the deck, and if they can turn it into a dogfight on the road, they might just be able to squeak away with a point or maybe 3.
They'll certainly be looking to do that. Try and find a way to get past the talented back line of Phoenix.
Ball bent around the back line, and Vasquez will with a neat play in the back. And now looking to run the other way and finding the feet of Omar Bravo, the 37-year-old Mexican. For Luke Rooney, splits two defenders, the shot blocked in front, the rebound saved by Kempin. And it's cleared out, but only as far as Wright Phillips. Los Dos not out of the woods just yet. Wright Phillips bends it towards the back post, and there is Kempin. And what an important save it was to keep it 0-0.
That was a brilliant save. Kept alive by Bravo. Look at that little Cruyff turn by Rooney. Takes the shot, it's blocked. Players flying all over the place. I didn't see who took that last shot that was saved by Kempin, but finally down to his right was the goalkeeper from LA Galaxy 2. Fantastic save. And again, talking about Phoenix and how they're struggling to score, sometimes you get some of the luck going against you, and on that occasion it was the luck coming up against a very good goalkeeper.
Zanga for Amaya, finding an overlapping run on the outside, putting it on frame, but that's never going to trouble the keeper of Josh Cohen's caliber.
That was not a good ball played in from the left flank. Lovely build-up play by Galaxy 2, and it really deserved a better finishing pass across the top of the six. And it was right into the hands of the goalkeeper, and that was a disappointing end to a great passage of play.
Castellanos leaving it for Vera. There's a great sliding challenge from Watson to break that up.
It's a pretty open game. It's going end to end at the moment.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic
box
for the fans.
to box stuff. Rigi. Early service. Wright Phillips, a one-time strike, and it's off the woodwork. My goodness, that would have been quite the first goal in Phoenix Rising history. But the ball just rising a bit too much and cracking the woodwork. What an effort from Wright Phillips.
I think that goalpost is still vibrating from that effort.
Cortez trying to square it back across. Zanga getting rid of it. It's off of Vasquez, and everybody can take a deep breath. What a strike from Wright Phillips.
That was a great ball in. Good defensive work, but only out to Wright Phillips, and he just thumps into the back of the ball.
Kevin didn't move.
He couldn't move. He didn't see it until it was coming back off of the crossbar. This is going to be a great angle. You can't even follow the ball. It was flying so quick. I don't think Wright Phillips will ever strike a ball as purely as that.
He's had some spectacular goals in his days with Man City and Chelsea, but that certainly would have been one of his best. Still 0-0 though. Should have counted for half a goal at least. My goodness.
One of those. I mean, the important thing is, one of those that comes back like that. I mean, in my days as a defender, my eyes would always get big, and I'd blast it over the crossbar. But to have the skill and under pressure, because there was a player right there trying to clear the ball,
yeah.
But to get this head down, his knee leading his foot through the back of the ball to keep it down. Unfortunately, from Phoenix standpoint, it wasn't down quite enough to go in the back of the net. But I mean, it's fantastic skill from the player to even put that one on frame.
Zanga back across in a dangerous area, but nobody home. An opportunity, but Wright Phillips doing a little blue collar work there in front of his own net.
A couple of examples, Matt Watson moments ago, and then Wright Phillips then. The all-important tracking back of the midfield players. Midfielders are asked to do so much box to box, but if you get lazy and don't do it, then you're giving your opposition player advantage in around your attacking third, and you leave your defenders hanging out to dry.
Rooney out wide for Vasquez on that patented left foot, sends it back across, and there was Bravo. But the header always going wide, and it'll be a goal kick coming for Kempin.
Very difficult to turn that one on frame from that deep. There's a couple of examples of those deep crosses from right at the beginning of their attacking third from Phoenix, and both have resulted in opportunities for the Phoenix team.
how about these services from Victor Vasquez, the rookie, 23 years old, out of Anaheim, played at Cal State Northridge, signing his first professional contract with Phoenix Rising just a few months ago, and immediately making an impact. Started in all 3 games thus far, and he really has a special left foot.
He's done a tremendous job, and those outside backs for Phoenix are getting forwards and occupying those outside mids for LA Galaxy too. And that's important because if you look at the lineup, Phoenix are playing a diamond formation in the midfield area, so they're somewhat narrow. So the width has to come from their outside backs, and they're doing that pretty well, especially Vasquez on this near sideline.
Fuji with an early service, nobody there but Vasquez, and he's going to thump it long. Bravo bringing it down, finding the feet of Matt Watson. Really difficult bringing that one down. Chipped ahead, the flag stays down. And oh boy, was that an opportunity for LA. The striker almost thought that the flag was going to go up, as well as his comrades who were making a run towards the net, but it ended up staying down, and an opportunity gone by the wayside for Los Dos.
Well, the ball was bouncing, the goalkeeper was coming out. I thought there had been a great opportunity for a chip over the head of the on-rushing Cohen, but that wasn't to be. There's a couple of times now that diagonal run to the far sideline has caught out the backs of Phoenix. And I have a rule of thumb there, Tyler. If you're the one standing up with your hand in the air saying there was an offside call missed, you're the one that probably kept him off.
It's a good rule of thumb to have. Turner trying to sneak around Vasquez, gets there. Turner squares it back across. And there's a great challenge from Jordan Stewart. It needed to be, as there were certainly a couple of Los Dos members lingering in the box.
There's that diagonal ball over the top, and you can see the defenders there. Peter Ramag, arm goes up, thinking that there was an offside. It was a beautiful run in the back by Mendiola. And again, I thought he could have chipped the goalkeeper, didn't do so. And Phoenix were able to clear their lines momentarily. They've now conceded the corner kick.
Really has been end-to-end action here in Phoenix. If you're a Phoenix Rising supporter or just perhaps a third-party observer, couldn't have asked for a better football match. Appreciate you staying up if you're on the East Coast. If you're on the West, you don't get as much credit. Neat little touch for Rooney. Now finding a sprinting Rigi. Rigi with a number of Los Dos players in front of him, but he's going to try it anyway. Rigi trying to sneak it through. Bravo's there. Back for Rigi. And it'll end up being a goal kick after all of that. And Rigi was really the only one up there for Phoenix.
Credit to those LA Galaxy players getting back defensively to make Rigi think twice about going on his own. He had such a head of steam going down that park. I thought he was going to go 1v1 against the goalkeeper there and just put his chin down, Tyler, and was determined to find his way to that ball first.
Well, he's certainly been active in the 29 minutes that have passed thus far. Alessandro Rigi, 23 years old, native of Montreal, first season with Phoenix. Played for FC Montreal for 2 seasons and looking to be a part of something special here in Phoenix as Watson trying to win a throw-in, but it's going to be Los Dos ball. Rooney with a neat little flick to get out of trouble, finding Rigi again. Into space for Bravo. Vasquez overlapping. Bravo finding the feet of Rooney, turns with the cooler, and there's another great save from Kempin. He has been right on top of Phoenix every time they're knocking on the door. Still looking for that first goal.
That all started with the overlapping run of Vasquez, taking players to the outside. Ball comes into Rooney. There's the overlapping run. In comes Bravo, plays it into Rooney. Lovely turn on the touch. And the goalkeeper, Kempin, if you watch, he just cheated because he knew which direction the player was turning and just cheated to his left a little bit, able to make that save even more easy for him great positioning from the goalkeeper.
And Los Dos coming out the other way in lightning quick fashion. Josh Cohen not having to make that difficult of a save, but again, Los Dos has been very dangerous on the counter. Here's Omar Bravo, Cortez helping it along, and the flag was up on the far side. Phoenix fans have something not all that amicable to say to the referee.
That's a little frustrating. That flag looked like it went up very late, and Bravo probably thought that he was on the ball for a while before the flag went up and the whistle blew, so that's what's frustrating. Referee remonstrating about something, I'm not sure what, but he's having trouble hearing through his headphones.
Josh Kempen keeping the score level at 0-0 thus far. Mentioned earlier from Leawood, Kansas. 23 years old. First season with Phoenix as Regi again making things happen. Cortez in the middle. Is there a runner on the back post? It's Wright Phillips, but he's not exactly there to put a shot on net. He still has it though. And Zonga sending it towards the direction of Amaya.
If Frank Yallop has any hair left after this first half, he must be pulling it out by the roots. I mean, Riggy there, just tremendous effort to win the ball, takes space into the box, lines up his pass, and then puts it behind Cortez and thwarts the attack. I mean, great work from Riggy here. Looking up, and then just behind the attacker so despairingly. A great attack, great effort. Credit to Riggy for winning the ball in the first place, but you've got to finish that pass in the attacking third.
Here's Turner on a one-man mission. There's the overlapping run. For Wakasaw, the rookie making a solid defensive play. Here's a shot from distance, but never troubling Cohen. As Los Dos continue to counter, but Phoenix continue to knock on the door. However, the soccer gods will not let them in just yet.
There's moments going the other way where LA Galaxy too are on the attack. I mean, they look dangerous in that moment of attack there. And as the coaching staff, you know, we've just had a great opportunity down one end, and now we're going to concede. And you know, that, you hear it in golf, the two-shot swing, so to speak. But I mean, that would have been an absolute killer blow, and really destroyed the confidence from going from a gilt-edged opportunity to conceding a goal. And again, we've talked about the confidence and how a team responds. Phoenix would have just been hanging their heads thinking, what have we got to do to get on the right side of the score ledger?
Wakasaw with a strong header. Cortez picking up the pieces, trying to chip it through for his running mate up top, Bravo, but it goes out wide for Vasquez again. Wants to put it on that left peg, but gets it back for Regi. Looking to combine with Bravo. Turns away from the 1-2. Rooney trying to squeeze his way through, but there was a Los Dos wall. And maybe LA Galaxy 2 looking to counter as Matt Watson continuing to break things up in the middle. Regi, I should say, continuing to be a pest.
He doesn't give up on a ball, does Regi. He's done a fantastic job several times of winning balls that others might have thought were a lost cause.
Poor giveaway from Rooney, forcing Cohen off his line. Plays it with his weaker right foot. Only as far as Mendiola, but he gives it away. And now maybe an opportunity for Phoenix. Nice outside of the football from Cortez. And Wakasaw making the overlapping run. And there was a dangerous ball sent back. It'll be a corner for Phoenix. As Kempen a little bit frustrated with his back line, and quite honestly, I don't blame him.
And he's been a busy boy as Kempen in this first half, and he doesn't need any more help from his own teammates to put him under any more pressure.
Kempen been playing professional football since the age of 17. Homegrown Sporting Kansas City player. Youngest ever to sign with the club at 17 years of age. Certainly has the experience as that header turned a bit wide, and Rambo a little bit frustrated with himself on the free header.
It's tough to turn it into a goal-scoring opportunity when you're moving away from the goal you're trying to attack. And you see from his run there, he's running back to meet the ball. Whether the wind affected the flight of the corner kick from Wright Phillips or not, certainly didn't seem to have the flight on it that you'd expect on a set piece from Wright Phillips.
We're 35 minutes into the first 45. Feels like it's only been about 3 or 4 minutes, but with the fast pace of this game, it's certainly flown by. One of the more entertaining 0-0 first halves you'll ever see. Still plenty of time for a first half goal.
LA are really struggling with the diamond formation in the midfield.
And Rooney with another giveaway. That's his second in a row. And here comes Los Dos with Amaya off to the races. Zubak. Amaya trying for the back heel, but just a little bit too cute. And it's Jordan Stewart off to the races on the other end. A couple of times where Los Dos has just been a little bit too cute, trying for those back heels. Maybe would have been better served if Amaya simply lets that ball run through for the overlapper rather than taking a touch himself.
Field looks maybe a little bit woolly. The grass trying to settle in after being the construction. So
Fuji.
Tough to get the feel of the playing surface.
Zanga still striding forward. Nobody beating him just yet. Vera towards the back post. Zubak thought somebody was there, and there is. Good opportunity. Here's the chip shot towards net. Never troubling Cohen as the placement and the pace not quite there for Los Dos.
Just dropping the right shoulder, Mendiola. Little shake and bake, trying to create some space, putting that into the near post. Would have been looking to bend it into the far post. And he just pulled his shot, snatched his shot a little bit.
A little bit more shake than bake there?
Probably.
We'll never know.
We will never know.
Watson just shrugging off Zanga. Rigi again. And there's a bit of a frustration tackle from Zaga. He's the one who ends up going down, and now Rooney getting taken down. Look at sportsmanship there from number 72, Jean-Joseph Angola. Part of that tandem signing with Zanga out of Cameroon. And Luke Rooney a bit shaken up. He's turned the ball over a couple of times. Last 2 occasions he's had a touch on the ball. And Zanga now waving off the physio, but he's going to get attention nonetheless, and it looks like he's now bleeding from the face. That's now the second player as Wright Phillips and Tyler Turner getting into a little bit of extracurricular activity. And the referee having to come over and break things up as the youngsters of Los Dos maybe a little bit frustrated with the dynamic play of the veterans on the other side. As we'll take a look at the previous plays, there's a rash challenge from Zanga.
And trailing arm of Rigi just got him in across the cheek there. It might have been what was being argued about by the LA players. Turner asking the referee, did he see it? Obviously the referee didn't. I don't think there was anything in it. Rigi just was changing direction and accelerating. His arm came back. I don't think he was trying to deliberately elbow the player. It's maybe a little bit too far out for a shot. Certainly LA are setting up the wall though.
And looks like it's going to be Cortez on top of it, possibly Bravo. We'll have to wait and see. It's Bravo trying to put it on frame, but failing in that category.
A strange choice of shot there. He was trying to bend it from that distance, and goalkeeper of Kempen's quality, there's just not enough pace on the ball from that far out with that choice of shot. I thought maybe there would have been enough room there to just absolutely, put your foot through the back of the ball and just aim at the corner and see if you can beat the goalkeeper for pace. Either way, it went high, wide, and looked like it should have been a field goal.
Vasquez finding Rigi out wide. Rigi looking to combine with Omar Bravo. Bravo finding the feet of Rooney. Neat little flick. Bravo's in. And he tried to square it back for Cortez.
Cortez and Wright Phillips were lurking, and it was just good defensive play in the end by LA. Galaxy Angiola, I think it is, who gets the touch. No, it goes past him. And then it's out off of the foot of Turnley. But there were two players for Phoenix lurking.
Wright Phillips on top of the corner. Kempin is there, can't handle it, loose in the box. Sent back out towards Wright Phillips. The English international trying to send it towards the back post, but Kempin collects it, and Los Dos can take a deep breath.
Smart play. Not trying to force the issue in the box. Play it back out to Wright Phillips. The service just was a little too close to Kempin for it to be effective from the former England player.
Zonga with a great touch to run into. Vera. Back for Turner. These youngsters certainly can play when they put it down. Turnley. Now it's through for Zubac. Trying to send it back across for Amaya. It'll be a Los Dos throw-in, but both teams just missing that final touch in the final third. I would say Phoenix is a hair closer than Los Dos is, but both teams just seem to be a little offbeat when they reach that final part of the pitch.
They certainly are. Both teams have had quality opportunities. As you said, Phoenix have had the more run of the play as far as that is concerned. But again, that was a great opportunity for LA Galaxy too. The only player there to run on for that ball that was played back was Mendiola, who's an outside player, because the two central players, central midfielders, centre forwards, had created the attack and were beyond the ball. It just, as you said, the timing, it just isn't quite right for either team at the moment. But it's making for a really entertaining game.
Mendiola coming back. Stewart with a strong header. Fuji and Rigi going after it. And it's Fuji who is committing the foul. Referee coming back and addressing the issue. Was going to let the advantage play. It was Fuji who came away with the ball, and it's a set piece opportunity for Phoenix.
The referee indicating that he saw the shirt of Rigi tugged by Fiji.
Now this certainly has to be out of range for any sort of attempt on frame, am I right?
Yeah, it has to be, and actually it's a very difficult free kick to get any quality service in because it's so central in the park. Normally you'd want a little bit of angle so you can serve it in and have the runners from one side. Generally what you'll see is players running from both sides of the box, and you see Phoenix so spread out, just trying to create the angle.
Sends it back across. Well, it was straight from the training ground. Certainly something they've worked on before.
And you see what they were trying to do. They were trying to create the angle off the service and then head the ball back across, because the free kick was so central. There was no angle for to create the service and the run combined. You had to play it out wide and then back across. It was well worked, but well defended.
Zonga draws the foul. Phoenix fans not all too happy with it. And Los Dos will play quickly. Amaya trying to squirt it through for Mendiola, but it's cut off by Wright Phillips, and now here comes Cortez. Beautiful fizzing ball along the pitch here at Phoenix Rising Complex. The ball into the box is headed away by Angola. And another opportunity from Phoenix from the corner. They continue to knock on the door as we approach the halftime whistle.
Again, you talk about the final ball and the attacking third, and the ball was played as a cross, trying to find the lone player of Cortez or Bravo, and there was Rigi right at the top of the box, just begging for the ball.
Floated all the way back. Rooney on the one time. Whiskers wide. The corner looked a bit odd considering it was floated that high, but it was certainly intended for that, just trying to get Rooney a strike from the top of the box. Kempen will collect and take a goal kick, but my goodness, would that have been a first goal? Both Wright Phillips and Rooney hitting it very sweetly and just a few centimeters away from a spectacular opening goal.
Well, that one was from the training pitch, and that was a great effort there from Rooney. Just a little bit wide.
We have 1 minute of stoppage time added on to the first 45. Wright Phillips bullied off the ball by Mendiola. Mendiola racing forward, still on it, trying to slip it through. Wakasaw is back. And it is going to be offsides on Los Dos.
I think the Galaxy too can believe that that was an offside call, but Mendiola certainly had a head of steam going on the attack. Wright Phillips caught in possession.
Boy, was Mendiola moving. He's one of those players who is about as fast with the ball as they are without it. Zubak finding Mendiola, trying to slip it through. Mendiola asking for a handball, but not going to get it. Stewart thumping it long for Cortez, and the whistle is blown for halftime. Quite the entertaining first half. You wouldn't know it but by the scoreline, but there have been plenty of chances from either side. Phoenix still looking for that first goal in the club's new stadium as well as the club's new name. But 0-0 is the score at the end of the first 45 minutes. Wright Phillips cracking the crossbar as well as Los Dos creating a couple of chances. But the score looks the same as it did from when we started. 0-0 here in Phoenix as Los Dos continue to try and keep Phoenix out of the net. They've been successful thus far. We'll be back with halftime stats, highlights, and much more after the break.
Trolls. Ah.
Go, 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 go!
This is Contour from Cox. Cable TV reimagined to get you right to the good stuff.
Celebrate spring with savings from Pruitt's. We've got the biggest deals on your favorite looks. Like this sofa chaise with script pillows, yours for $399. Or this South Beach 4-piece bedroom set, just $699. Visit Pruitt's for the lowest prices and best selection at Alma School and Ray or Thomas Road and 34th Street. Pruitt's, proudly serving the Valley for 65 years.
Explore the Southwest lifestyle, the culture, the music, the food, y más. Join hosts J.R. Cardenas and Vanessa Ramirez for a Southwest adventure on Subida. Travel the state, enjoy the food, discover new artists, and fun things to do. Every week, JR and Vanessa share their discoveries with you.
Watch Suvita on YourView every Sunday and Wednesday on Cox Channel 1007 or at yourview.com.
Back here in Phoenix at halftime. Lots of dancing, and why not? It's been an entertaining first half here in the desert. There's certainly been a scoring drought, but no drought of entertainment as the Phoenix fans enjoying the scene here at the new Phoenix Rising complex. Plenty to talk about in the first half, as there were certainly a number of chances. As that is one of the cutest little babies you will ever see at a soccer field doing the little dance with mom and dad. And we are going to take a look at the halftime stats. And we apologize for that, having a little bit of technical difficulty here. We'll take a look at halftime stats as soon as we get the opportunity. But Matt, your thoughts on the first half?
All right, it was completely entertaining. Well, that 45 minutes just absolutely flew by. End-to-end stuff. Both teams had some great opportunities. Phoenix more so. Kempen has been great in goal for LA Galaxy too. And just a fantastic first half of action.
Well, we are still trying to wait for those stats to come in as we're trying to give you a sense. I would probably venture to say that it was Phoenix on the ball probably around 57-43, 58-42, around there.
Certainly it was a very Phoenix dominated half. I mean, certainly they had the most of the opportunities, and as I said, Kempen was fantastic in net, and the LA Galaxy too. They've had some great looks as well, and Phoenix can't let their guard down at all, otherwise they'll end up on the wrong side of the scoring ledger.
Well, Phoenix still in search of that first goal of the season, but we're going to take a look at the USL Week 2 around the league.
We've raised the stakes. Expectations are high. Our biggest season yet will break records with elite players and future stars. Innovative technology and new homes. We're growing the game in our communities and across the nation. Are you ready?
As we go into Week 3 play, let's take a look back at Week 2 of the USL season. Set up by Nansel Selbel, Carlton Belmar notched his second goal in as many games to secure the 1-0 win for Swope Park Rangers against his former team, Portland Timbers 2. Louisville City converted on 3 of their 8 shots on target to take the win over Orlando City B 3-1, with Orlando's only goal coming off an own goal before half. Louisville came out strong in the second half and were able to put the game away with goals from George Davis IV and Luke Spencer. The Rochester Rhinos jumped out to a 2-goal lead, but in extra time before half, Bethlehem Steel cut the lead to 1 thanks to a Charlie Davies PK. Coming in off the bench, Johan Graf was able to seal the 3-2 win in the final 2 minutes for Rochester. New York Red Bulls 2 played strong defense, shutting out the Richmond Kickers 1-0 in their inaugural game at MSU Soccer Park. Zico Lewis found the back of the net in the 69th minute for the Red Bulls. Andrew Wiedemann and GB led FC Cincinnati to the 1-0 win in Pittsburgh, as GB notched his second goal in as many games. The Riverhounds played most of the game with 10 men after Gale Agbasumude received his second yellow of the game in the 42nd minute. Phoenix Rising struggled to combine in the attacking half as the Real Monarchs took the 2-0 win at home, winning their second game in a row as Phoenix fell to 0-2 to start the season. 0-0 at half, the Charlotte Independents controlled 62% of the game's possession, but the Charleston Battery put 2 away within 7 minutes to top Charlotte 2-0 in the Southern Derby. 2 home games, 2 wins for the Tampa Bay Rowdies to open their USL slate. Michael Nanchoff led the team with 2 assists as he set up Damian Lowe and Georgie Ristoff early in the first half for the first 2 goals of the game, as the Rowdies handled Toronto FC 4-0. Oklahoma City Energy FC took to the road for the second week in a row as they faced off with the Colorado Springs Switchbacks in snowy conditions. The game ended in a 1-1 draw with first half goals for both sides as neither team was able to find the difference maker in the second half. Tulsa earned their second win of the season and handed RGV their second loss as Joey Calistri found the back of the net for Tulsa in the 31st minute. A sellout crowd of 5,566 watched St. Louis earn their first win of the season, a 3-2 victory over Ottawa Fury FC, thanks to an own goal deflection in the 88th minute. Billy Forbes led his team for the second week in a row, this week a goal and an assist in a 3-0 win over LA Galaxy 2. Rafael Castillo notched a goal for himself off Forbes' assist as San Antonio starts their 2017 season 2-0. Brennan Griffiths will be the name remembered for Reno 1868's first goal in the history of the club, but neither Reno nor Vancouver Whitecaps 2 could completely pull away as the game ended in a 1-1 draw. Wilson Nishan Sammy Ochoa led the charge as Sacramento Republic FC delighted a sellout crowd of 11,569 fans to a 4-0 win over Orange County FC. Nishan finished the game with 1 goal and 1 assist, combining with Ochoa, who finished with 2 goals. And that's your look around the league. For USL Network, I'm Morgan Conklin.
Celebrate spring with savings from Pruitt's. We've got the biggest deals on your favorite looks. Like this sofa chaise with script pillows, yours for $399. Or this South Beach 4-piece bedroom set, just $699. Visit Pruitt's for the lowest prices and best selection at Alma School and Ray or Thomas Road and 34th Street. Pruitt's, proudly serving the Valley for 65 years.
Explore the Southwest lifestyle, the culture, the music, the food, y más. Join hosts J.R. Cardenas and Vanessa Ramirez for a Southwest adventure on Su Vida. Travel the state, enjoy the food, discover new artists, and fun things to do. Every week, JR and Vanessa share their discoveries with you.
Watch Su Vida on YourView every Sunday and Wednesday on Cox Channel 1007 or at yourview.com.
Hey, little man. I'm your new house. Come on in. This is gonna be great. Watch what we can do together. Lights. Ta-da! Locks. Not bad, huh? And this, I've been saving this for you. You take care of the universe, I'll take care of you.
Cox Home Life, home security and automation.
Back here in Phoenix at halftime, Tyler Terrence joined alongside by Matt Stubbington. 0-0 at the end of the first half, but you wouldn't know it if you were watching the first 45 minutes. Plenty to talk about. Wright Phillips hitting the bar. Rooney denied by a diving John Kempen. And we are going to take a look at some of the highlights for the first half, and there were plenty of them, Matt.
It's a tremendous first half. Again, Phoenix having the run of the play. Started early, ball pumped forwards, flicked on. And there's Rigi. He's so impressive in the first half, getting into the box. And somehow, someway, he found the back of Cortez's heel. And somehow, someway, the ball stayed out of the goal for Phoenix. Corner kick from Wright Phillips. Played a lot of services in. Nice service as Kempin, first of many saves. Rigi on the overlap, taking the defenders with him. Lovely turn from Rooney. Ball falls to Cortez. And look at that save, outstretched with the right hand was Kempin.
And then it was Mendiola getting in on the action. Josh Cohen not troubled by that. And Rigi continued to supply phenomenal efforts, but none better than that one from Wright Phillips that rocked off the crossbar. But the score would remain 0-0 as Mendiola, another opportunity gone by the wayside. Turner creating problems for the back line of Phoenix, but Jordan Stewart, who had a rough start to the game, see that bandage over his head, actually had a massive cut on the back of his head, and then there was another great opportunity for Zubak and Lostos, and then it's Rigi again creating plenty of opportunities for Phoenix. No runner on the back post, though.
He seems to keep aiming for the back heel of Cortez in the box. He needs to find the front foot, but Rigi was really impressive in the first half.
Well, one of the more entertaining 0-0 first halves you'll see in a football match, and we'll take a look at some of the first half stats. Surprised by anything?
Well, the possession's a little bit closer than you'd have thought, but the shots, 12 for Phoenix is no surprise. They had a lot of the run in the first half. Maybe we'd like to see a little bit more on target. I always look like 50% on target for the shots that you take. They were at 4. So, you know, they're doing a good job, but Kempin has been a fantastic in goal for the LA Galaxy too, and has really kept his team in it. And again, you go back to that strike from Wright Phillips, just an inch lower, it would have been in the back of the net, but I'm not sure that the goal has stopped rattling yet. He struck it so purely.
Well, the question begs whether or not this LA Galaxy team made up of kids who are probably no older than about 23-24 combined, but at the same time, are they going to be able to absorb that first half punch from Phoenix, and then the pressure starts to build on Phoenix again, second home game, still haven't scored a goal in about 135 minutes of play, 125 minutes of play, or is it going to be Phoenix getting an early one and then the floodgates just completely opening?
Well, as far as Phoenix are concerned, they have to go into the locker room at halftime and come back out again feeling positive. They know that they are finding the opportunities. If they weren't finding the opportunities and not scoring goals, then the confidence would be low, the questions would be asked. They are getting into the box. They had 12 shots, 4 of which on target. They're knocking on the door. So it's just they just have to find a way of getting the door to open for themselves. And that's the key, is that they have to make sure that they know, they know where the door is. They're just going to find a way to open it. And then LA, they just have to make sure that they come out and match the intensity that Phoenix are going to come out with at the start of the second half, because they didn't do so at the beginning of the first half. And that's going to be a measure of the maturity of this young team from LA, is can they match the intensity and desire that Phoenix are going to come out with, because they want to win this game.
Well, if I'm the LA front office as well as some of the coaching staff, I'm certainly keeping an eye on this game, because with the amount of talent and the amount of experience on this Phoenix team also making a push for an MLS expansion, it really is a superb opportunity for these youngsters from LA to play against that sort of competition, to play in that environment in front of a home crowd that's hungry for a goal, hungry for a win, hungry for success, and hungry for the next step. So what a superb opportunity, regardless of the result, for these players from the LA Galaxy too. And that was sort of the idea when this club was founded in 2014, and as well as the other secondary teams around the USL, the TFC 2s, the Portland Timber 2s, the Sounders 2s, and the list goes on, of getting your players real opportunities to play against real competition, possibly competition that could be moving to the next level, and developing them for the next level.
It is. I mean, this is true competition. I mean, you have reserve games and things of that nature, but they're not truly competitive because nobody wants to get hurt. This is a true competitive game. Phoenix want to win. They want to, put their best foot forward. They want to win the league. There is a prize at the end of the day, and that's why this is such a great opportunity for all of these players to go into the cauldron of competition and prove to those at the next level that they might have the potential to get the job done at the highest league and the highest divisions in this country.
Well, Phoenix still in search for that ever elusive first goal, not only in the club's history under the name Phoenix Rising. Obviously, we're Arizona United SC just a few years ago. This is the first year being Phoenix Rising, and we're going to have our first substitution of the game. It's going to be Lassiter coming on to replace Turnley. So Lassiter, number 15, coming on and replacing Turnley at the outside back position. So possibly Coach Mike Munoz trying to get maybe a opportunity created from your outside back getting forward, or maybe just wanting fresh legs on the back line, or possibly a combination of the two.
Well, it's going to be interesting. Turnley is playing more of a central role in the defending lineup, so I wonder if the coaching staff of LA Galaxy too are maybe making a tactical change. They were struggling with the diamond formation that Phoenix have put out in the midfield area, so perhaps they're going to put 5 across the midfield, go with a 3-5-2 lineup and try and counter those outside backs, Vasquez coming on the left flank particularly, and try and counter that with some wide mids, and then have an additional player in the midfield to try and get inside the diamond formation that Phoenix play and break down the Phoenix team that way. We'll have to wait and see where Lassiter fits in. I mean, the roster is listed as a forward, so it's going to be interesting.
Well, both teams breaking their halftime huddle rituals, and are about to get the latter 45 minutes underway here at the Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex, built just a couple months ago, fitting about 7,000. Probably somewhat close to there in terms of attendance today, as we are just moments away from kickoff in the second half. Phoenix with so many big names: Sean Wright-Phillips, Peter Ramage, Omar Bravo, Cortez. And it's almost a wonder how they haven't scored a goal yet, and I'm sure that was creeping into their heads while they were taking that long walk to the dressing room at halftime with so many spectacular chances going by the wayside, but they'll have a second 45 minutes to make amends and possibly put in the first goal in Phoenix Rising history, as well as the history of this stadium, which I'm sure will play host to many more football matches. But looking to get a W in this match right here, which would also be the first win in the 2017 campaign, as Wright Phillips immediately getting involved. He was certainly the story in the first half with that absolute rocket of a shot. And like you said, Matt, I bet the goal has stopped vibrating at this point, but for a while, I mean, one of the hardest and most squarely hit shots you'll see hit woodwork in your lifetime.
He absolutely pured the shot. I mean, he may have hit some that are as good, but none better. I can guarantee you that. Another opportunity from set pieces. Angola just heads that ball over the end line for a corner kick to Phoenix, which Shaun Wright-Phillips will take. He's been taking all of the set pieces for Phoenix.
Curious as to why Vasquez wouldn't take it from the right side, try to get that in-swinger, but it's Wright-Phillips nonetheless. And it's Ramage chasing it down, keeping it in with Rigi. Rigi, and he is fouled and fouled hard. As he is still on the ground, Zanga going to get a stern talking to, the referee walking him into his office. And the word is probably no more.
Rigi certainly went down awkwardly, and whether he was trying to sell the foul or whether that was Zanga putting that much force into it. Rigi caught into possession.
Yeah, Rigi did put a little bit more into it than there was, but it still was a foul from Zanga nonetheless.
Yeah. When you look at these players, and sometimes they get hard shift from fans watching because they want to leave the ground. They don't want to be planted when the tackle happens, because if your foot is planted, that's when bad things happen to your knees.
Kempin up for it and able to collect it.
Having said that, sometimes they sell it just a little bit too much.
Just a little
There's
bit.
one thing leaving your feet and on the trying to ride the challenge, so to speak, but there's another one where you're trying to do a triple loop as you're on your way down and as well. So
nice tackle again from Matt Watson, who sort of playing that piano lifter role in the middle of the field. Your piano players, the Shaun Wright-Phillips, who are playing the beautiful music, playing the beautiful football. But you always need somebody to carry the piano around, and that has been Matt Watson. He's been spectacular in that holding midfielder role. Rigi's going to have a shot from distance, and it's another save from Kempin. Rigi continuing to ask questions of the Los Dos back line. Kempin has had most of the answers. It remains 0-0.
ball seemed to float a little bit. Maybe it knuckled on the way in. No spin on that ball. Kempin did very well to adjust to the flight of that ball. It knuckled tremendously. Fantastically struck shot there from the outside player, Rigi.
Wright-Phillips again from a corner. When's it going to turn into something tangible? Rigi just floating it back in. Watson's there, but so is Turner. And Amaya just chipping it towards the general direction of Wakasa. Wright-Phillips bringing it down, but bumped off the ball. And Mendiola drawing the foul, and Los Dos can come out.
I thought Rigi would have been better served to pass that ball out wide. There was an overlapping run probably from Vasquez. Rigi, he's got a lot of confidence in his abilities, and no wonder the way he struck that ball so sweetly.
Rigi turns his head on the ball and magically lands at his feet. Wakasa. Rooney trying to chip it through, but maybe a little bit too cute yet again.
It was well read by Vera there.
Here's Mendiola on his horse yet again. Spraying it all the way out wide for Zubac. Zubac with a couple of moves, cutting in towards the left foot. Zubac, the shot blocked in front by Ramage. And Phoenix clears their lines, but Zubac making the Phoenix back line look like cones for a moment. Angola trying to spray it out wide.
Oh, he did.
A little bit too wide, I guess.
That was a downwind ball. That was right across the pitch, but brilliant effort from Zubak. Wrong footing Stewart. Very flat was the central defender for Phoenix. Neither team really getting the rub of the green inside the box, though.
And every time it looks like Los Dos is on the verge of giving up a goal, they come down on the other end and they create a chance of their own. Great resiliency from this young squad.
It is. We also have to wonder about the concentration of Phoenix. Maybe they just switch off momentarily and allow LA to get down the park and cause some issues in and around the box.
Fuji connecting nicely in the middle with Mendiola. Trying to bend it around the back line. Stewart, that's a big mistake, and there's the goal from Los Dos. Jordan Stewart coughs it up, and it's Adonis Amaya who makes them pay. Los Dos have the lead 1-0 in Phoenix.
Moments of concentration have let Phoenix down, and again it has happened. And as the ball went in the back of the net, you looked at Stewart just holding his head in his hands, knowing that it was his mistake. Beautiful interchange of passes between Fuji and Mendiola. And Stewart trying to pass the ball out. Just not a very good touch, straight into the path of Amiala. And he made no mistake, just slotting it in around the goalkeeper, Cohen. That ball just sat up so beautifully for him. And there's the defender, head in hands, just what have I done? Amiala going away, silencing the crowd, finger to lips, shushing them. But let's see how this Phoenix team can respond now. Frank Yellop, when he was speaking to us in the week, talked about the resilience of his team and how they struggled in the earlier matches. Let's see if they can respond positively and keep on the front foot as they've played so well this game. They just have nothing to show for it at this point.
Turner chipping it through, another opportunity. There's the shot, and Cohen able to make the save. But Los Dos, even after scoring a goal, continuing to apply pressure to Phoenix, who look a bit defeated at the moment.
I think Cohen was less sure than you and I whether he'd saved that one. It looked like it had gone underneath him. There would have been a terrible mistake from the goalkeeper. But again, another lovely ball over the top and almost a second goal for Los Dos.
Here's Rigi trying to find Rooney, but Phoenix a little bit off cue at the moment. Rooney chipping it through for Wright Phillips. Wright Phillips is there, and there's another save from Kempin. Phoenix cannot figure out the puzzle that is John Kempin. He has been absolutely fantastic at every turn for Los Dos, denying one of the all-time English greats. And here come the team from LA yet again. It's thwarted, but another fantastic save from John Kempin.
He had to spread himself big there to get down and make that save. A fantastic, beautifully controlled ball over the top. Wright Phillips with the chest brings it down to his feet. But Kempin was out so quickly there, Tyler, and made yet another fantastic save.
Nice play here, another early ball in. Bravo waiting for it. Wright Phillips trying to take it on the one time. It falls to Watson. Neatly for Wright Phillips, trying to get it into Bravo again. But there's Angola showing that strength. And Los Dos, while at times they've been a bit shaky and look like they might break, they've only bent. And they've kept Phoenix at bay. Stewart over the top for Rigi. Rigi with the service. Bravo is there, but Angola was there first. It's off of Bravo. And a goal kick coming. Although we do have an injury. And it looks like it's Adrian Vera who's down, and quite some pain. And it looks like he's going to require immediate attention.
I'll figure out exactly what is hurt. He was indicating with his wrist that something happened, but not sure what.
And now the Boo Birds raining down here at the Phoenix Rising complex. Maybe thinking that Vera is already trying to waste time. Still with about 35 minutes to play here.
Certainly got up relatively quickly after writhing around in agony.
Well, they are good actors, most of them. They do make you think that something is genuinely wrong until it's not.
The trouble is you end up thinking that they're the boy that cried wolf, and you don't give them the benefit of the doubt anymore, which is where I'm at.
Well, that was what happened with Neymar in that past World Cup in Brazil when he was writhing around, and he's one of the biggest culprits of diving in the world. And it turns out he actually ended up fracturing his vertebrae, but there were so many people who thought that he was just putting on a show trying to get attention, and he actually ended up being hurt.
Well, credit to the referee in that situation. He let play continue because Vera was not in
Lassiter through. Cohen makes a diving save. Well, it had to be great from Cohen, and it was. Amayo trying to double up his delight, but Josh Cohen saying, I'm not having any of that.
Diagonal run of the player, vertical play of the ball, and a fantastic save from the goalkeeper. Moving to his right, had to change direction and go to his left. Great job from Amayo to make the goalkeeper make a fantastic save. Tremendous work from Cohen in net. Footwork was fantastic, and the athletic ability, Tyler, to get down like that and tip that round the post was just brilliant.
Well, Cohen kept them in the game against the Monarchs about a week ago, but they were unable to find the equalizer or even one goal. And there's a bit of a mishit, but it falls right to Fuji. Fuji trying to square it back across. Watson read it. Mendiola still loose in the box. And Ramage with a cool head plays it out to Rigi. And maybe an opportunity the other way. Cortez finding the feet of Rooney. He's got Wright Phillips in space, and that's who he plays. A little bit of a poor touch, holds up the attack, finding Bravo. Bravo around one defender. Tries to get the shot off, but Turner is there, prevents the corner. Great defensive work from Lostos in transition.
Good play from Turner. Again, not giving up the corner kick.
Rooney through for Bravo. Bravo taken down, and it's a penalty. Great work from Phoenix as Bravo felt the defender on his back, went down, and this could be the moment for Phoenix to break through. It looks like it's going to be the English player, Luke Rooney, who's going to take it. He's the one who created the play. A neat little pass from Luke Rooney to Bravo. And a superb job of Bravo to feel the contact, and he most certainly got fouled on that play.
Definitely was contact, definitely a penalty kick. Vera will think that there wasn't a lot of a challenge there, but certainly the referee, I believe, is right in the decision. A lovely interchange of passes to Spring. Bravo free.
Luke Rooney. 26 years of age. 185 appearances for 10 different clubs in England since 2009. In his first season with Phoenix, looking to give the club their first ever goal. And an equalizer here in what will probably be the 60th minute by the time Rooney has finally taken the penalty, and now some might be thinking that LA just trying to ice the kicker, as it were.
Certainly would
and
seem
now we're
to
gonna
be the
have a yellow
case.
card given to Kempin. And quite honestly, I don't blame the referee. Too many antics going on from Los Dos. And Kempin finally disciplined. But perhaps it worked, and perhaps they're in the head of Luke Rooney. We'll find out in just a moment. Rooney to make history in Phoenix. And there it is. Luke Rooney gives the home side the equalizer, and better yet, gives them their first goal in club history. Phoenix have tied it 1-1 here in the desert.
Great shot of the bench there. Head coach Frank Yallop, just a little wry look to his staff. He's not sure he's ready to smile just yet, but a fantastic penalty kick after a lot of toing and froing at the top of the box between Turner and Angola and Sean Wright Phillips. Rooney was the calmest man on the pitch. He just slotted that one away beautifully past Kempin. Finally, Phoenix found a way past the LA Galaxy 2 goalkeeper.
Spectacular penalty.
It was a fantastic penalty. The goalkeeper moved early, he read it. Frustrated he didn't get a hand to it, but that's the quality of the kick. Had enough pace on it to beat the goalkeeper.
And the offsides flag is raised.
Well, Frank Yallop's got to be happy that his team has responded positively to going down 1-0. It was a concern of his and after the first game. Wasn't happy with the way they performed in the second match. He's got to be very happy with the way they've played this entire game, except for the conceding of the goal. And now to bounce back and find a way to tie this match up. Can they go on and do something greater?
The name Luke Rooney will always be remembered in Phoenix, Arizona. And for those attending the match as well as watching will know that that man has given the club their first ever goal, as well as the first goal here at the Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex. Solid defensive work from Vasquez, who's been strong all game. Trying to find Rigi. Rigi coming away with it. The Canadian out wide for Wakasa. Stumbles a bit. Trying to find the foot of Rigi. Rigi giving a arbitrary thumbs up. Applauding the idea, not necessarily the execution.
I think he recognized that the passing lane and the angle wasn't quite on for him to get the ball to feet, and acknowledging the fact that he'd taken himself out of the play. Rigi, I don't think really he hasn't put much of a foot wrong, if at all, tonight. He's been very impressive on the left flank for Phoenix.
And now the crowd here at the Phoenix Soccer Complex starting to get into it. Rigi. Bravo going down a little bit more than easily. And coming back with a bit of a frustration foul. He is irate. He's got to be careful here. Referee has gone to his pocket a couple of times already. Turner. Early ball in, but Cohen well aware of the situation and off his line in a jiffy.
Well read by the goalkeeper there. You have to be careful not to get too much into that sort of game from Bravo. Get yourself out of the actual match and into trying to impress onto the referee what your decision, what you think the decision should be, and your concentration ends up waning and you cost your team. Especially if you end up getting yourself booked or sent off or something silly like that.
No goals in the first 45 minutes, but plenty of entertainment. And now we have two in the span of about 18 minutes. 1-1 is the score. Phoenix certainly not happy with the result as the way it stands. Los Dos would probably end the game right now if they could. Well, it felt like the only way you were going to beat Kempin tonight was going to be via penalty. And that's the way it ended up being, as he has been phenomenal between the pipes for manager Mike Munoz.
Well, his reaction to the ball going past him just tells you how well he's into the game, how he's been feeling this evening. He's played tremendously well. Guessed the right way on the penalty. He probably wasn't a million miles away from touching the ball either. Just the pace of the right-footed shot from Rooney was what put it past him.
Flicked on, Bravo trying to get there. Angola's there first, but he does give up a corner. And Phoenix and their fans possibly feeling a game winner here. Wright Phillips trying to get the crowd involved. Kempin off his line, and Kempin with the ball.
That's where I'd like the ball served, is right along the top of the 6.
A booming punt towards Amaya. Wakasaw had trouble dealing with it. Back for Lassiter. Lassiter lines it up, but lines it up just a bit too high.
Back to the corner kick. The service was good, but where was the runs? There was no industry from Phoenix on that set piece at all. And hence it was very easy for the goalkeeper, Kempin, to come out. Tremendous distribution, almost sprung Amaya on the counterattack. And Wakasaw has to do a better job of judging that ball on the bounce. And he's lucky that another defensive error didn't cost his team.
One of the cardinal sins of defending, letting that punt or goal kick bounce anywhere near your goal. And Wakasaw almost paid dearly for it, as Angola difficulty dealing with it. And springing free is Zubak. Looking for the early ball, gets a touch around the defender. Zubak across the net, and there is a spectacular challenge right at the last from Wakasaw, and it had to be. Not out of the woods yet. And Luke Rooney coming back. What a spectacular play by Wakasaw, certainly preventing a goal.
It was a tremendous challenge at the back post from Wakasaw. We criticized him for letting the ball bounce, but he didn't make any mistakes on this. Didn't necessarily make a touch on the ball, but he did just enough to put the onrushing player from LA Galaxy 2 off of his stride, and the ball goes despairingly wide for the LA Galaxy fans. Amaya at the back post there just couldn't get that touch, and he ended up in the back of the net tied up, and I'm not sure he's free yet.
Well, it looks like we're going to have a substitution. Or perhaps just a talking to. Cortez trying to leave it off. Zonga going down.
Those are ones that are frustrating. I mean, as I said before, a little bit of a nick there from Shaun Wright Phillips perhaps, but Zonga up with a smile, did his double loop as he went to the ground, and everybody's scratching their heads wondering what the dickens is going on, and it's right as rain.
Here's Zonga, seemingly okay. Spraying it out wide for Zubak, able to get there. Service is in, Stewart doesn't deal with it all that well, stuck on Zonga's feet. Zubak sends it across right, Phillips is there and then cleared away momentarily. Only as far as Fuji. Zonga again, towards the back post, Wakasaw is there. And it's Luke Rooney. The man who gave Phoenix their first ever goal. Trying to find the feet of Cortez, but Lostos settling into a rhythm defensively.
Cortez is putting a shift up the top there. He just covered an awful lot of ground from one flank to the other, trying to chase that ball along the Los Dos back line.
And Turner either forgot something or thought he had somebody behind him that wasn't in fact there. And Phoenix will put their foot on top of the ball and slow things up. Rigi in space, trying to go right through Angola. No foul called. Head for Lassiter, and Ramage taking the easy way out. Well, you can see why they call him Rambo.
He's a big boy.
You could take him.
No.
Peter Ramage, 33 years of age. Played for the likes of Newcastle, Queen's Park Rangers, Crystal Palace. Mendiola through for Zubak. And the shot just going over the bar. Cohen did a superb job of closing down the angle.
Superb job of closing down the angle, Tyler, but also staying on his feet and not creating the foul. Beautiful through ball, lovely footwork from the attacker. And the goalkeeper did tremendously well to thwart that attack from Zubak.
Well, look for all in the world that Cohen was going to go to his feet as soon as that touch was taken, but reading Zubak like a Dr. Seuss book, staying on his feet. Clinical goalkeeping from Cohen, who has been phenomenal all game, and as well as for the first 2.5 games of the season. Made a couple of huge saves in that game against Real Salt Lake 2. And this man Zanga's been a handful. Amaya, the goal scorer for Los Dos, trying to squeeze through, but Ramage is there. Zanga on the ball once again.
Feels like LA Galaxy too have made an adjustment in the second half, and you saw Lassiter coming into the game at halftime, or after halftime I should say, and it seems like they have more control of the midfield area than they had in the first half, and are dealing better with that diamond formation that Phoenix have been employing.
Rigi, the shot, and just a few whiskers wide. And that's what we like to call Route 1. The goal kick creating a chance. And it was Rigi who brought it down, and the shot just didn't get enough bend on it, going for that curler that we've seen so many times in recent years. Really has become a bread and butter of most strikers in the Premier League, La Liga, you name it, as well as the MLS. And one of my favorite players in the world, Coutinho, has sort of patented that shot.
That's a great shot. You drop your shoulder and beat the player to the inside. But you have to have confidence in your both feet to be able to do it. And Rigi, being a left-footed player playing on the left flank, he has to have the confidence on his right foot in order to take the swing with it and have the shot. So often you get reticent in using your weaker foot on those opportunities, but a lot of the times have a go, have a bash, just swing the leg, and sometimes something good will happen. Obviously at this level, all of these players should be very comfortable with both feet.
You think?
He said that. You ever watch a video of Maradona playing? I don't think he used his left foot much. But he was really, really good with just one of them.
His right foot. Cortez through for Bravo. Bravo asking for a handball, but not going to get it. And Los Dos just going to thump it long, making Ramage think for a second. And all the way back to his goalkeeper hailing from Central California. A dicey challenge from Vera. Wright Phillips really didn't want any part of that. Trying to keep both of his legs intact. Watson and Zanga getting tied up. Watson really has been a workhorse for Frank Yallop in the middle of the pitch tonight. And there's Vasquez, the rookie, unable to bring it down.
There's that wind again. It's howling from across the pitch. And Watson just couldn't keep that one in play.
And we're going to have a substitution. It looks like Rigi is going to make way for Jason Johnson, number 14. Johnson started in the previous game against Real Salt Lake. Coming off the bench now, looking to make an impact here in the 75th minute. And Rigi has certainly put in a very good shift this evening.
No surprise that Rigi's coming out. He's been such a force for Phoenix this evening. He's been playing so well. Whether there'll be a tactical change here or not, I'm not sure, but certainly the round of applause that he's receiving from the fans is well deserved for him this evening. He's done a tremendous job and has impressed me.
Certainly another football here in Phoenix, and Regi getting the applause that he deserves. Johnson, a 26-year-old out of Jamaica. First season with Phoenix, previously at San Antonio FC. Will continue to have a fabulous start to the beginning of the 2017 campaign.
It looks like Cortez is going to slot back into the midfield role, vacated by Regi. And Johnson's going up top alongside Bravo. At least that seems to be my early impression of what the substitution has been.
Wasn't exactly what Los Dos were trying to do, but Wright Phillips gives it right back. Fuji taken down, and we do have a foul. Fuji's taken a couple of knocks in the middle of the park tonight. Playing captain for manager Mike Munoz tonight.
As competitive as this game has been, there's been some good sportsmanship on both sides. You see Rooney there, just a little slap on the chest to Fuji, saying, acknowledging his hard work.
Good challenge from Bravo. Leaving it for Johnson, who was muscled off the ball momentarily, but somehow finds it again. Taken down, holding on to the foot of Zonga, and will play on.
That was all a little bit untidy, and I think players are fortunate that whistles weren't blown there. Zonga could have reacted more strongly than he did, and would have been a really silly sending off.
Wondering what that is on Jordan Stewart's head. It's not necessarily a Nike headband, but rather bandages that were needed after he had a rather large laceration on his face at the beginning of the game. Bravo laying it off for Rooney. Rooney once again. The man has a brace. He has the team's first goal in history, and now he very well may have sealed 3 points for Phoenix. The home side leads 2-1 over Los Dos.
It seemed so innocuous when it started down the left flank there. It certainly was a very calm finish from Rooney, putting it into the bottom right-hand corner as we look at the goal. Ball comes across, there's Bravo, heads up. Rooney was there, wanted it. 3 players rushing in to try and make the challenge. And Rooney knew what he was doing with the ball. One touch, looks up, knows where Kempin isn't, and puts it in the back of the net. Kempin despairingly drops to the turf. So 1 goal from the penalty spot, 1 goal from open play. A good night's work from Mr. Rooney there.
Luke Rooney having himself a night to remember, and certainly giving the fans here at Phoenix something to remember. Him and Bravo have been the catalyst in the final third. Sean Wright Phillips, Cortez, as well as Regi, who recently came off, drawing attention, but it's been Rooney and Bravo who really have scored that connection in the final third that's really benefited Phoenix in that final part of the pitch. And it's going to be Jared Gavin coming into the game, and Omar Bravo making way for him. Bravo with the assist on the second goal and drawing the penalty on the first.
Gavin is listed as a midfielder, and you see there the instructions to Rooney is go up top and get yourself a hat trick, mate.
On his way. He's certainly been in that type of form tonight. And Frank Yallop, in that initial phone call with him, was emphasizing how good of a player Rooney was and how much they missed him in the final third in that game against Real Salt Lake 2. And you can see why the two-time MLS Coach of the Year as well as MLS champion, was so high on this player, Luke Rooney. 26 years of age. Was a journeyman in England, but looking to find a home here in Phoenix. As Zarda may have batted that away with his hand, but the referee is going to call a foul the other way. Fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune in to USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts, Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM FC Channel 85. Also, don't forget Sirius XM FC will air the USL Game of the Week. Please check USLsoccer.com for dates and times.
Yellow card issued against Zanga there. Silly foul. Trying to give Sean Wright-Phillips a hug that isn't warranted in this game. Arm comes over the top, drags the Englishman to the turf. Wakasa, the left back for, or right back, sorry, for Phoenix, didn't like the call. The referee waved him off, said, I got this, I got a yellow card I'm going to give out.
With the attendance just being announced here at the Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex, 6,300 plus fans coming out to see their team perform and possibly to see their first 3 points. Gavin back for Rooney, sitting on a hat trick at the moment.
Certainly been an entertaining 82 minutes of action that they've seen.
Falls to Rooney, slipping it through for Johnson. Back for Rooney again. Rooney getting to the byline, the cross picked up by Kempin. And despite giving up 2 goals, Kempin probably playing one of the better games of his young career thus far. It started at 17 years of age. He's only 23, but you can tell that this is a young man who's almost been bred for professional soccer.
Tremendous effort in goal tonight. The score would be out of hand if he hadn't made some of the saves that he's made. But that's why you get paid to be between the pipes, is to make those stops, keep your team in it. And he certainly has done that tonight.
Turner, and the touch just a little bit off from Lassiter, who was trying to combine in the final third. Would have been a neat little touch to try and bring that down, but no such luck, or rather for Amaya.
7 minutes left in the match. This is the time for the experienced players of Phoenix to take a hand on the game and make sure that they bring it home. Calm the younger, less experienced players down and make sure that everybody's on the same page. They know what they're trying to achieve.
Cortez ahead for Johnson, takes it on the one time, but right into the sure hands of Kempin. It'll really take something special to beat him from that range and angle. Phillips, 84 minutes in, still with enough gas left in the tank to hunt after the ball in the defensive third. Bustos still with the ball, but offsides.
Phoenix are in no hurry to take this. The goalkeeper coming out, trying to get as many seconds off of the clock as possible.
Well, the referee's already carded one keeper today.
Go for the matching set.
Absolutely. Can't have something that's not symmetrical at the end of the game, can you? Other than the scoreline.
I know the Phoenix fans will be hoping that that is not the case.
Falls to Cortez. Gavin. Now Rooney towards the byline. And we are going to have a substitution. It's going to be Adrian Vera Making way for Juarez. Juarez, the youngster academy player, coming on and replacing Adrian Vera, who certainly had a nice game in the middle of the park. But right now it may not be enough as Cortez trying to split his way through. Cut off by Castellanos.
We'll have to see what tactical change is being made by LA Galaxy too. See whether they'll put an additional player up, try and get the tying goal.
And there's a bit of a mistouch from Cohen, and who's best served taking the easy way out. Zubak was right there. Zubak onside. And a nice play from Victor Vasquez to get out of initial trouble. Phoenix by no means out of the woods just yet. Still have about 4 minutes of play plus stoppage time, so plenty of time for Los Dos to get an equalizer. Just comes down to a matter of whether or not Phoenix can close out the remaining 6 or 7 minutes.
Certainly they don't want any mental breakdowns. You see Cohen there, missed touch, had to put it into touch. And then the throw-in was quickly taken and caught Phoenix unawares. They were lucky to get away with that.
Great play from Johnson, and although he didn't win the ball, knocking precious seconds off the clock, and Angola making a little bit more out of this than they might be in it.
That's some better ball control from Mr. Cohen. You can pick it up, you know. So what are you playing at, please?
Well, I'm sure Frank Yellup is having the same thoughts in his mind on the sidelines as well.
He's probably wondering what he wants to eat with his heart that's in his mouth at the moment.
Cortez with a nice turn. Phoenix seemingly in control at the moment. We have seen much crazier things.
Fuji was stretching himself out as if he's getting some calf cramps. And we've got Vasquez that's struggling.
A little hot there in Phoenix. A little bit of dehydration playing a role. Phoenix a few minutes away from their first 3 points in club history.
I wonder about the decision there to go short with that free kick. It was in a good attacking position. The angle was good. Maybe thump it into the box or down the pitch a little bit and see if you can get something more in your attacking third. Playing a ball around the halfway line there, Tyler, and then the Phoenix players end up playing it back towards their goalkeeper, who has to thump it long, and so possession is lost around the halfway line. I think Phoenix were a little bit misjudged in their decision making in that situation.
Well, Phoenix certainly looking for that insurance goal, but manager Frank Yellup probably telling his midfielders not to cross the midway line if it doesn't beg for it, as Johnson has been the lone striker up top, as he will get called for offsides.
There's nothing wrong with trying to put it in the corner and waste time in the corner, but trying to do it on the sideline within 10 yards of the halfway line, I think is just misjudged. They were a little bit fortunate to get away with it.
Gavin with a nice touch into space. There's Johnson with him, trying to hold his line. Back for Gavin. Getting word now it's going to be 3 minutes of stoppage time as Vasquez dispossessed. And it looks like Matt Harlow Bayonessa, number 23, will be coming on. And he's going to replace the rookie Victor Vasquez, who is certainly flying up and down the left flank, fulfilling defensive and offensive responsibilities.
No surprise that Vasquez is coming out. He was struggling with some cramping issues, so no surprise with now the 4 minutes left to go in this game, stoppage time, that the substitution is made. Make sure that there are 11 healthy players on the pitch for Phoenix to finish this game out.
The substitution, they did add 1 more minute on, in case anybody was fact-checking my stoppage time information. Ramage, a little bit of a miscue. Cohen off his line. Oh, and Lassiter probably wants that one back. Cohen was miles away from home. Lassiter had a clean look at the goal, but just sent it over the bar. You see that so often when a keeper is off his line and nowhere near the goal, but that the opposition striker just snatches at it. And that's exactly what happened to Lassiter.
Certainly would love to have that opportunity back. Mix up on the back line after Vasquez going out. Cortez has gone to the back line, playing in the left back position, vacated by Vasquez. And just confusion amongst the back four there from Phoenix, and that led to the opportunity that Lassiter just put high and wide.
It would have been an awful way to concede the equalizer in the 91st minute, but here's Harlow Bayonessa doing the dirty work. And the referee motioning for a goal kick.
You saw a tug of the jersey there and actually gave the foul against Phoenix. I think that was the right decision there. Harlow Bayonessa was certainly nipping at the heels, trying to win the possession for Phoenix.
Third minute, 1 more minute of stoppage time remaining. Phoenix currently relying on the Luke Rooney brace to give them their first 3 points of the 2017 season. Amaya, the goal scorer for Los Dos. Can't quite connect the pieces. And it's Johnson. Gavin looking to race the other way. Sent towards Harlow Bayonessa, taking it on the one time. And Kempin, like he's done all game, making another big save, keeping it at 2-1. And maybe one last gasp of air for Los Dos coming the other way. Zubak, around one defender. The service lofted towards the back post. Cohen off of his line, and he's able to collect it comfortably.
Well, both goalkeepers have played really, really well tonight, and that was a very important win in the air by Cohen. He couldn't afford to drop that ball. It was descending from the night sky and didn't put a foot wrong.
And now the whistle's coming for the referee to blow the final whistle. We're right around the dying embers. Lassiter trying to cut it back. Stewart showing great strength. And that is it. Phoenix Rising have their first 3 points of the 2017 season. The new ground has seen his first goal. And they will be singing the name Luke Rooney around these parts for a long time. He has given the club their first win, given the ground their first goal. And this club, which has featured so many big names from around the world, finally have something tangible. It's a massive 3 points for Phoenix. They were down 1-0. They come back and score 2 goals via penalty from Luke Rooney. And then a spectacular goal set up by Omar Bravo. And it is Phoenix Rising who come away with a 2-1 win. We'll take a look at Full-time stats, highlights, and a bit more when we come back. The final score from Phoenix, 2-1.
Trolls.
Go, 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 go,
This is Contour from Cox. Cable TV reimagined to get you right to the good stuff.
Celebrate spring with savings from Pruitt's. We've got the biggest deals on your favorite looks. Like this sofa chaise with script pillows, yours for $399. Or this South Beach 4-piece, $199. Visit Pruitt's for the lowest prices and best selection at Alma School and Ray or Thomas Road and 34th Street. Pruitt's, proudly serving the Valley for 65 years.
Back here in Phoenix after 90-plus minutes, and it's Phoenix Rising, who are on top of Los Dos 2-1 thanks to Luke Rooney. 2 goals in the second half, proving to be the game winner was the second one. And we're going to take a look at some of the highlights. There were plenty of them in the first half, plenty of them in the second half. Really just a fantastic game of football overall. One team a bit happier at the end.
It was really entertaining stuff all the way through the match. There's Rooney taking a shot. It was deflected. And then the shot from Cortez was fantastically saved by Kempin, who was brilliant on the night. And then the shot from Sean Wright-Phillips, beautifully struck with the right foot, hits the crossbar. With LA Galaxy 2, they had their chances as well. There was Mendiola having his opportunity, thought he could have chipped the goalkeeper, chose not to. And then another defensive mistake in the back line for Phoenix almost led to an opportunity for the Galaxy 2, and then a beautiful ball outside of the foot shot there went into the hands of Cohen. Zubac just couldn't beat the goalkeeper from Phoenix. And then there was Rigi, who played so well in his stint but couldn't find the foot of Cortez in the pass into the net. And then into the second half, it was again Rigi trying to find the shot. Beautiful knuckleball again, finally saved by Kempin.
And then we finally started to see some action. And it was Amaya who got on the board first, and it was a dreadful mistake from Jordan Stewart.
As the ball went in the back of the net, he held his head in his hands in disbelief that he made that mistake. But then Phoenix were able to have their gut checked and found a way back into the game.
And it was Omar Bravo who drew the penalty, and then Luke Rooney stepping up and knocking it home. A really well-taken penalty.
He had to wait an age to take the kick, but put his foot through the back of the ball beautifully. Kempin stood no chance. LA Galaxy again trying to make a way into the back of the net. Bacasa for Phoenix made a fantastic stop. And then here's the game winner. Beautiful ball from Bravo, found Rooney. He looked up, trying to find where the goalkeeper wasn't, and did so perfectly. Side-footing it with the right foot into the back of the net, bottom right-hand corner. And that meant the world for Rooney and to Phoenix.
Fantastic night here in Phoenix. Los Dos maybe feel like one got away from them. They did get on the board. You saw from that Amaya goal, albeit a brutal mistake from Jordan Stewart, one that'll probably only make one of his career. Here are the final match stats, and it was Phoenix who just absolutely pummeled the net all game. Los Dos certainly had their chances as well.
Quality chances on both sides of the ball. Both goalkeepers played extraordinarily well, Cohen and Kempin for LA Galaxy 2. They really have earned their supper tonight, and it was just a really well-played game. The Phoenix Rising fans, they loved it. For the neutral fans, they loved it. For LA Galaxy 2, they're really frustrated that they didn't come out on the right side of the ledge, or they'll find a way back in the game and tie it up, because arguably it could have been a 2-2 tie and everybody would have been happy, I think.
Well, it's all smiles for the men in red as Luke Rooney, Regi, and the rest of Phoenix Rising thanking their fans for coming out, all 6,300 plus of them, as they witnessed a historic night at the Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex as Luke Rooney's brace gives the Phoenix Rising FC their first 3 points of the 2017 campaign and the first 3 points in the Phoenix Rising FC era. Luke Rooney was phenomenal. Josh Cohen as well. So for everybody here at the USL, our entire production crew, we had an absolute blast, and we hope you had some fun along the way as well. It was Amaya getting on the board first, and then it would be Luke Rooney with the penalty, as well as the game winner to give Phoenix their first 3 points. I'm Tyler Terrence signing off for Matt Stubbington, saying so long for now and thanks for tuning in.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League.